Filthy. All right, ready? Let's go.
We're recording already.
Ah, right, okay, awesome. What's up, everyone? Leroy from Noisegate. Today, big things from Arturia. They have just announced the latest version of their V Collection, V Collection 9. V Collection is a pretty amazing bundle of vintage synth emulations. So this is really exciting news. V Collection has long been known for its faithful synthesizer emulations of legendary gear using its proprietary synthesizer emulation technology. That's a lot of words to say, meaning basically that they do a really good job of recreating legendary instruments so that you don't need to go and sell your house to be able to afford the originals. Arturia have upped the ante, including 4 new instruments, bringing the total bundle to 32. They brought forward a MS-20V, which is a legendary Korg MS-20 synthesizer emulation. There's also 2 Arturia originals, the Augmented Strings and the Augmented Voices, as well as including in the legendary Ensoniq SQ-80V into the bundle as well. We also have the Prophet 5V and the Prophet 5VS, which were traditionally sort of bundled into a single instrument, but they've separated these into 2 individual instruments now, so it's really nice to have the Prophet 5V and the VS out on its own. And on top of this, we have the CS80V and the Piano V have all kind of had like a bit of a makeover. They've completely redesigned the DSP and the synth engine, making them feel, look, and sound a whole lot nicer. So really good stuff. I'm a big fan of V Collection. I've been using it for a very long time. There's a stack of new presets. I think it's up to like 14,000. Today in this video, I'm going to go through every single patch. Now, what's really cool about this as well is there's a bunch of really new, great in-app tutorials, which is great for anyone who's just using V Collection for the first time, or even a complete beginner to synthesis in general. With some of the more complex instruments, the tutorials really help you just dive right in straight away and really see how it all works. Now, there's a stack of stuff to cover today. Obviously, I'm not going to go through absolutely everything because that video would just be too long. Please stay tuned to Noisegate as we do some further, more in-depth deep dives into some of these instruments. Cool, let's get stuck in. Alright, so first cab off the rank is the Korg MS-20V. Obviously, it's an emulation of Korg's legendary MS-20, which was a semi-modular mono synth. And the first thing that I wanted to check out with this was obviously the filter and the resonance, because the MS-20 had a very, kind of legendary filter sound with that resonance really squeals. Let's have a listen to that. Yeah, and you can see as I boost the resonance there, it really squeals. That's very characteristic of the MS-20. But what really got me about this was the MS-20 now is like polyphonic. I can actually play up to 6 voices on this, which is just completely mental to me, because the MS-20 was always known as a mono synth. So I can go down here, select poly mode, and select up to 6 voices, and it gives me that little warning. And if I go through to the presets, there's a whole bunch of presets that are characteristic of a polyphonic synthesizer. So let's check out this one. So that's pretty insane that you can play an MS-20 with up to 6 voices. So this obviously looks like the MS-20. I'm not going to go through absolutely everything, but in true Arturia fashion, there is a whole bunch of things they've added. Here we have a sequencer, which looks a little like Korg's SQ-80 sequencer. Here I can turn it on. I might just go back to a different mono preset. And we have sort of 3 lanes here. The bottom lane will sort of change each sort of step's pitch. We have a trigger here which will activate a note for each step, and then we have these 2 other lanes where we can send sort of control voltage to different parameters via the inputs down here. So I can change it up to 12 steps, which is kind of nice. And then, with using the other lanes, so channel B, for instance, I could kind of route individual control voltage to modulate, say, something like the cutoff filter. So each step there is sending a control voltage to modulate the cutoff filter, which is super cool. So yeah, pretty basic step sequencer, though it's really fun. There's a lot more to it, obviously, but I'll keep moving on. We also have an effects section as well. So I don't know about you, but I've never seen an MS-20 that had any effects to it unless you routed it through a pedal or something like that. Here we have 4 effects inserts. So we have all of these different inserts to choose from, and you have your dry, wet, and a whole bunch of parameters that you can change to really create new and interesting sounds using the MS-20. Super nice. Let's check out a few other presets. What's really good about these Arturia plugins is they help you manage the presets really, really well. So there's obviously hundreds to go through, but if I click this little icon here, I can sort of assign my favorite presets to different categories, and I can also create my own playlists, which is really sweet. It also really helps you explore the presets sort of via different categories as well. So you can search via a type of instrument, or different styles as well. There's a whole range of tag-based sort of presets that help you navigate through all of the presets really, really well, which is really handy because there's so many of them to go through, and obviously you're probably looking for something pretty specific. As mentioned before, if you're looking to kind of go through the in-app tutorials, you can navigate to this little icon here and select the tutorials, and this will show you kind of an introduction, and it will sort of walk through the instrument sort of step by step, kind of giving you a pretty clear overview of how it works. And this is applicable to pretty much every single Arturia V Collection instrument now. So really helpful sort of stuff to get you through kind of this instrument and to show you what's going on. So next up we have the Augmented series of instruments, Augmented Strings and Augmented Voices, and these are 2 Arturia original instruments. They're not an emulation of any synthesizer, and they kind of utilize this sort of hybrid of multi-sampling and other interesting synthesis techniques to be able to create interesting sounds. And what I'm really liking about it is the front panel is a really simple kind of layout. It all sort of revolves around this morph feature, which allows you to just kind of get stuck in and create something really new and interesting. But when we pop the hood and click over to the advanced section, we can actually really see what's going on here. So we have these two layers, and that's actually what's happening when we're turning the morph feature, is we're actually blending between layer A and layer B. And you can see here on layer B, we have some granular synthesis kind of happening, as well on layer A, we have some more traditional synthesizer sounds. So you can see there's a lot of control there. I'm not going to go through everything here, but we also have, a full modulation section with 2 LFOs, an arpeggiator, more effects, and some macro section where you can sort of assign parameters to and whatever have you. So yeah, really loving how this looks and how it sounds so far. And it's also the same with the augmented voices. It looks very much similar, and it has a similar layout, all revolving around the morph feature. And you can kind of see that the layout is kind of same when you click the advanced tab. Also, if you hadn't noticed, I'm using the Keylab 49 here. It's a pretty amazing keyboard, especially if you have Arturia instruments installed. All of these instruments are automatically mapped to all the parameters on the panel here, as well as all the sliders. So it just kind of makes using these instruments a little bit nicer. Here we have the Prophet 5V, separate to its own instrument, along with the Prophet 5VS, which is really nice. Next up, we have the SQ-80V. This is an instrument that Arturia created last year. They've bundled up in the latest version of this, V Collection 9. It's an emulation of Ensoniq's legendary digital instrument from the 80s. We also have the CS-80V. This is a newer version that's got a whole bunch of sort of DSP remodeling, and the sound engine sounds a lot nicer and has been added a few new features, along with the Piano V, which has the same kind of update treatment as the CS-80V, new DSP modeling, and a different unique sound engine with a whole bunch of new pianos to choose from. So it's the SQ-80V. It's like 80s synthwave dream. CS-80V. And the Piano V. Pretty amazing. This is just the natural state of these instruments. These aren't being run through any effects plugins at all. So as you can see, a bunch of great new stuff here. This is just a quick overview of all the new things in V Collection 9. Stay tuned to Noise Gate. We'll bring you some deep dives on all the new stuff very soon. As always, if you have any questions, bang them in the comments below and we'll get back to you. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you next time. And by the way, thanks to Arturia, we actually have some copies of V Collection 9 to give away, so make sure you check the description below for more details.